Hello and hey, this is Light on the Trail. Thanks so much for being here. Special guest on today's episode, I interview Mr. Will Bryant. In the short amount of time that I've come to know him, I've learned a lot, and he showed me some cool places. And he's a super interesting dude. Lots to say, very humble. Hope you have an open ear for this episode. We go through all kind of things. We touch on a couple different subjects, and it's just a good interview. But with that, I want to start with a bit of a scripture, kind of an interesting book that I've been looking into through Ecclesiastes again. But one quote here, verse 2:24, "There's nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of God." So I see that as what your labor is in, work or investing your time in, enjoy it. And that's something we talk about in this episode, is just how it's full of happy people that are just trying to do good and experience life to the fullest. He gets in that as well, and how spiritually it can be for some people. So again, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to leave us a comment and like. If you have something to say or an episode idea, feel free to email me. Let's get right into it. Here's my interview with the one and only Will Bryant.
Get excited talking to other people about it and wanting to teach them things about it, because I know how good it makes me feel, and I hope that I can help other people feel the same way.
All right, man. So thank you for being on here, and we're just going to talk and run through some things and see what comes up. We did just run. I don't know. I literally didn't look at the mile. It was like 5 miles.
A little under.
A little under 4 or
Little
something,
under, yeah.
like 45 minutes, 50 minutes or something like that.
I looked. 4.68.
Well, perfect.
If it matters.
Yeah, we're curious. I just realized that. Like, I hadn't. When we got there, I was like looking for shade and just like stopped it and was like, "Is it like 4 something?" Awesome. What? That's. You've showed me a couple new places, or almost all the new places since I've started running. Let's do a proper thing. This is Will Bryant.
Hi.
Correct. Will here.
Hello.
He's the kind of the local dude here that got me into running with other people, which is very convenient and nice of him. He's got a nice little collection of belt buckles behind us. You told me about one. I didn't know you ran like that many other things, if that's even proper English. We'll hop right into it. Or you want to give an introduction of yourself?
Well, I mean, I'm Will Bryant, and
Perfect.
I run a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's him.
Yeah.
The Welder, which would be a cool like trail running nickname.
Will the
That sounds
Welder.
cool. The Welder, yeah.
Will the Welder.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We worked in
My cousin called me that when I was going through welding school.
Will the Welder.
Will
That's
the
too
Welder.
easy.
It was like Bob the
Yeah.
Builder. Yeah,
Yeah,
she sang
yeah.
it. It was fun.
easy.
It
Nice.
was pretty fun.
Yeah. So what was you told me about was it in Kentucky, the Heartland thing? What was that?
Heartland, that was in Kansas.
Kansas. That's
Yeah,
great.
it was Kansas.
How long was that? Yeah, tell me about that.
Heartland 125. I did that last year in October 8th. That's like a day that will live in infamy for me. That's like my Pearl Harbor. I ran it in 33 hours. I ended up getting, if you look behind us, you see that little that outhouse?
Oh yeah, it says
Yeah,
it
I
on
got
there.
the dead last award.
Oh,
I was the last
The
person on the
DFL.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was one of the first people to start, because the 125 started 10 p.m. Friday night. And I was the last person to be out on the course. The 100 miles started the next morning at like 6.
Oh man.
So,
But you like, from what I've gathered and from like knowing you, like you definitely are just like you want to chill and just like be in the moment and like out there with like. And did you have an intent? Were you trying to like get top 3 or something? Or
I was looking at times for it, and I was shooting for 28 hours, but things happen, and like, I mean, you can't.
I mean, it's 125 miles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have finished. I'm grateful that I learned things from that, because there were lessons that I've learned from that race that really helped me out.
Nice. Yeah, I bet.
You want to get into that?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
what? That's the only one you've like. That's the longest one you've done, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
thought that's. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. That's cool. You got a word for it. That's awesome. Like an outhouse.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's wind up too.
It plays music.
Yeah, it winds up,
Oh my
and
gosh,
that door opens up, and there's a person that's sitting in there, taking a piss,
dude.
and they have their shorts down, so it like shows their butt crack, but it plays "Home on the Range,"
Oh my
which is
gosh.
the Kansas state song.
Is
They
it,
explained that to me because I was like, "Oh, that's a cool song," and they're like, "Yeah, that's
dude?
our state song."
Well, what did the winner like? What did the first place person get? Because
Oh,
that's really cool.
I don't know.
Did he get a
He
singing
was
outhouse? I doubt it.
he he finished way before I did. So I don't know.
He got a
He was
whole
already
outhouse.
yeah, he was already in the car.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's super cool. I didn't know. What
Yeah.
the heck?
It's the closest I've ever gotten to not making a cutoff in these things.
That'll
Cutoff was
teach you some stuff. Yeah.
34, and I was like 33, 30.
Dang.
Yeah.
How far ahead was who was second to last?
I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't care.
Think right. You just
Like
you're just
I
cruising,
was
you're
at a
like,
point I didn't
dude.
care. But yeah, it was a cool experience. At the finish, a couple got their vows renewed.
Hey.
Yeah. So that was interesting too. And like I was just on like another level of existence. Like I was so tired. So like part of me was like, this isn't even real. Like I was like, it was
Out of it.
nuts. Yeah, it
Out
was
of it.
nuts. It was cool.
Dang. Well, what's I guess another ultra or one of your favorite races you've done in like distance that you've
Favorite.
or no, you told me the other day you got second in something?
Yeah, I ran Lake Murray Endurance Run in 2021 and I got second overall. And that was
Hey.
pretty cool. That's a fun race.
How
And,
long is that? What's the mileage on that?
100K is
Oh, it was
62.4.
100K. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 100K.
62 still. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's a fun state park and that's a fun area. And any race put on, the company that put it on is Blaze Trails Running.
Oh yeah.
And any one of their races, I mean, you're pretty guaranteed that it's organized and well managed and there's good people there.
Good marking and all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's some good. I have before. I won't forget it. I'll remember it. I'll try to. But
Okay.
So I guess I kind of pushed that on you for the 1 second. But what's a favorite race that you've done or that you like? Yeah.
favorite, that's so hard. Like I mean, that's such a hard like
They'll have different things that are special about them, or unique
yeah,
that you
and
enjoy.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, how do you judge that?
Yeah.
I ran a half marathon in 2018. The Lake, I think it was 2018. It was 2018. The Lake Benbrook half marathon, and that was a really fun race.
Yeah.
That was a really
Was
fun
it
race.
trail or road?
No,
you
it's
thought
road.
about?
It's a road
Nice,
race.
just a half.
Yeah.
Just nice to do 13 miles. Right? It's just a long run. We're training.
Yeah,
for that.
I enjoyed it because it really I'm struggling with words on this. You got dead air here. I'm sorry.
We'll fix it in post. No, this is all natural. I'll take a drink.
But it really just like all the training that I was doing, like it really like manifested well on that day.
Nice. It just
Yeah.
feel everything
Yeah,
was
I mean
clicking.
it just
yeah,
and it
yeah.
made me feel like, everything just felt real
Nice.
good that
Yeah.
day. Another good running memory. My first 50K was out at Tyler State Park. It was the Piney Woods Ultra, and that was a good experience.
That's
Just the
like 30 miles, right?
31
31
and a
okay.
half. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the only way I know the metric system.
It's
It's all based
dude. That's
So I hear like kilometers like on road signs or something, or I see
Yeah,
kilometers
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, so it's 96. So that's pretty close to 100K. And 1K is 0.62. So yeah.
that's so
but,
funny. That
yeah.
that makes me feel better too, because literally this year since I've kind of digging more into the trail running and all that stuff, and it's all like K's and all that, and I'm
Yeah.
literally like. I understand, more
Yeah.
of that system as well. I'm like, well, that's like,
I
yeah,
think
like 60, yeah.
It had to have started from the track. Because
Oh.
the track's in
Oh,
meters.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
had to have, yeah.
And they just
people
used- yeah.
evolved on that.
That makes sense.
My first 100-miler, that was another good memory.
Yeah. When was
really,
that? A couple years ago? Or, like,
2020.
a long time ago.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a really good day.
Is around here, local in Texas? Or,
Oh yeah, it's a good local race, man. The Dinosaur Valley Endurance Run.
Nice.
Out at Dino Valley State Park.
Very cool.
Put on by real good people. just a really good vibe. That is a party. That's a fun event.
Enjoyed it. Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
and a lot of people do that race. So it's nice too because it's a 10-mile loop, and you're not gonna be alone for too long.
That was my next question. Was is how far out and back is it, or loops and
That
stuff?
that
So
race it's a smaller loops, which for your first,
right, I would think
that's
that's
good.
nice. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's good. Or yeah, I think it's good.
You can kind
It's all good.
of have
But
time to, and I've kind of said this before with my that first marathon that I did whatever a month ago or so. I thought it was not. I thought it was one big loop. Um, and then I realized that it was back out and back like a couple loops. I can't remember how
mhm.
long it was. So I was like, oh man, I don't want to see the same thing over and over. And I was so ready to just like be out on a trail and an adventure the whole time, which that's cool too. But I really appreciate for a first, like you were just saying, your first kind of a bigger endeavor, or you're like dipping your toe into a new distance or something. Like that was really nice because it helped me gauge it more, like by like landmarks almost. Like okay, I'm turning around now to come back on it.
Oh yeah.
Then now I know like not to push here, or I need to save energy for this hill again, or kind of conserve my water for this because I know where the spot is or something. Like
Yeah.
it helps a lot with that, I guess, if you're trying to plan stuff or feel a little safer, like less worry for like I think the next aid station's in 5 miles. I don't know where on a
Yeah.
repeating course it's where it is.
That's that's what I was going to elaborate on because it helps logistically. You can have
Yeah.
a set area where okay, this is where my stuff is. I don't need a drop bag, and you don't have to research the course as much. Because with like a point to point or a loop race,
Yeah.
you really or just a long loop, you really have to pay attention to. Oh, okay, I have from this aid station to this aid station is 4.6 miles, and then from
Mm-hmm.
that aid station to that aid station is 5.3, or and then there's a long stretch of like 10 miles. And you gotta watch for that.
Conserve. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
when we ran a couple weeks ago, with our other buddy Jeff, and y'all are signed up for that. I always forget it. I want to say the Hugh thing, that hill one, whatever in October.
Dana Peak.
Peak, not
Yeah,
hill,
Dana
peak.
Peak.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying like, hey, did you see that one aid station is like 7+ miles away from the next one?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, that is man, that's a jot. That's a bit of a
It
distance if
is.
you've already put in a handful, like, oh, 5 here, 6 here, 3 here, then it's like 7 till the next one. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's yeah.
I've experienced something like it before. There's a race in Louisiana called Loup-Garou, and the year that I did it was in 2021, and it had something. The race originally was 5 20-mile loops, but they
Dang.
had to alter the course. Um, for some reason to do with COVID, like they were housing COVID
Oh.
people like on the other side of the lake or something,
What?
and they closed it off. Whatever, that's fine. But long story short, it turned into there was a section of 8 miles with no aid, and I never really
Oh.
experienced that before.
Holy cow.
So like luckily I took people's warnings and took their
Oh, they
advice.
told you like, hey man, it's a
Well, you knew
it's
about
a
it. They
long
they weren't gonna
okay.
just throw you out there, but I had people tell me before the race, "Hey, you really need to pay attention to that," and thankfully I did.
Dang. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially after, like I said, after you ran a one loop of that or whatnot, and it's like, so yeah, you're really thirsty, you're feeling really crappy, and you're like, oh, I've still got 4 more miles to get, but
Yeah.
which is different if you're just going out for like today, like a 4 mile like run, that's one thing. But when you're in like a long race like that, and you're like, crap, dude, that sucks.
You can
But
recover.
that's
You
true. You
can
can
bounce
slow down, be
back.
smart, and chill out,
Yeah.
and yeah.
You can bounce back. There's plenty of times where I've put myself in running timeout to bounce back from something. A perfect example is Lake Murray. I was leading at Lake Murray in the first loop, and I got passed. And in which looking back, it's foolish now, but I was trying not to get passed, so I was battling
You're
with him for a
pushing, yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Which in races this long, like if somebody comes for you, odds are you're probably not gonna hold them off, right? It's just not gonna happen. But I was battling with him or trying to, and eventually I let him go, and then I still kept trying to keep gunning, but I felt myself fading. And
Right.
finally, I stopped myself and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, you're gonna walk for 15 minutes.
There you
This
go.
is what you're gonna do.
That's
Yeah, you're gonna sit. You're gonna walk for 15 minutes and you're gonna eat. That's what you're gonna do."
that's good. That's
And
hard to do, right? To tell yourself, especially if you're
I've
doing
gotten
that.
I'm gotten a lot better at it because I used to like I guess like maturity or just in the sport and just in general because starting out it was just like almost like David Goggins esque
Just
where it was just like
kill it.
yeah it's like I
yeah.
gotta do this and
Hammer down.
yeah and after a while it's kind of doesn't work all the time.
You have to.
you have to there's a place for it.
Yes.
There's an
yeah,
absolute place for it, but
Yeah. Listening to your body, and we were just talking about books. I haven't forgot the other thing I was going to talk about, but until I need to, I'll forget.
Okay.
But the books we're talking about, the one I'm reading, Do Hard Things, is about like mental toughness and stuff, and
Do
being
hard
smart
things.
and giving yourself. Steve Magnus writes it, and he writes a handful of other stuff.
I think
He's
I've heard
pretty
of him,
popular.
yeah.
But it about mental toughness, but how it's so much dependent on like giving yourself the emotional space and listening to your body to react responsible or be able to respond in situations to be tough about it, and what you like.
Yeah.
You can't just hammer through it and push and push and push and break yourself down.
Yeah.
Like, and that goes with physical activities or running or whatever, being an adult and doing your job and whatever else you have to do. Just it is hard to listen to those things, and you're like, nah, that sounds weak. But
You got to love yourself
yeah,
for sure. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
There's plenty. You hear that's always a joke with other people, right? When you tell someone you're running a lot, they're like, "Oh, you must be a masochist," or like suffering and all that. Like I'm more of like I
Well,
love
that's one of my go-tos.
is saying that.
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm just like, oh, I just hate myself.
myself. Yeah. I really like just the like seeing other people too, like pushing themselves and people bettering themselves, and it's such like a simple thing too. It's just like you're running and you can be out there and do it and get it done, and you can always like keep going and people pushing themselves. It's
Yeah.
just a nice thing to see and for yourself and grow. And you're like, oh, I did it! Wow. Um, with the races, what do you think makes a good volunteer and a good aid station? Or what makes a bad also too? What's bad experiences if you've had one or
We'll focus on the good.
that?
A good volunteer is somebody who is present. A good volunteer is somebody who listens to what the runner wants and needs. A good volunteer is somebody who has things prepared. A good volunteer is just it's as simple as going up to somebody and saying, "What do you need?"
Right, smile on your face. Hey man, doing okay? What can I
What
get
do you
for
need? Yeah. It's as simple as telling somebody you're doing great.
Yeah.
It's that easy. A good aid station, like I said, a good aid
I
station
guess would
is
mostly be with good volunteers. I guess makes the good aid
Yeah,
station, but they could
yeah.
have other things.
It's well stocked. Just nice people. Yeah, it's just filled with good people.
Mostly the
You wanna make sure you have the essentials. And you just want to make sure that they're effectively labeled even
That's
too.
organized and easy to
water
access.
bottles or like water. The difference between you usually got your water and you got your Tailwind, or you
They'll
got
have
your
something
water and you
mixed
got
in
your
something. Yeah,
Gatorade.
yeah.
Label that well. Pay attention to that well.
Right, have it filled up if it runs out. Sometimes they're in like those like a cooler.
mhm.
And they have it in there, and like
Yeah.
if they're not checking it, they won't know. They're not see through. You gotta
Yeah.
just make sure it's full.
It's
yeah.
definitely more important with ultras in general. I've seen some bad aid stations. If you want to talk about one,
Well,
I don't want to rip on anybody, but
It's
because
good
it was
to compare, have something to from one end of the spectrum to the other and
Okay.
stuff. And I would assume it's
a bad aid station. I will not name the race. I won't name the director.
okay.
And I'm not mad about that because I was
It happens.
prepared. Yeah, it happens. I just want to clear that up because I couldn't do what they do. It was halfway in the race or halfway in the course.
Okay.
It was unmanned.
Oh,
and
that will do it.
they left out. They didn't come back and frequent it throughout the day.
Oh, so just out of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
towards the
essentially.
end. Towards the end of the day, they put it underneath like the table. They put it underneath a tree, and they put a bunch of stuff like bananas, Oreos, Pringles,
The-
salty and sugary stuff
Your basic stuff. Yeah, that you see sometimes.
covered in ants.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
like
by like
flies.
2 o'clock, covered in ants.
Ah.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't come back and check on it and like, well, what do you think is
they,
gonna happen?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It was one of their. I think it was one of their first times putting it on,
Okay.
and I think it was just one of those things. And you
They were
can't.
testing it out and
Yeah,
seeing.
and it's like you can't. I don't know. You can't be too mad. And then some races really struggle with getting people to volunteer.
That's true too. Maybe they did not have enough
Right.
volunteers and they're doing what they could with
I
what.
know. I know. At one point, there was water, like one of the jugs, little like 5-gallon
Yeah, yeah,
coolers.
yeah.
You had to tilt it to get water out, and
Oh,
the
so
water
pretty
was
low.
kind of
Pretty-
warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Huh.
was prepared because I was taught early on in all this by a wise man. He told me, he said, show up to these things prepared. You would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yes.
Like
right.
you don't rely on other people. So that's some of that thing too. You know.
That's a very good point. You might
Yeah.
as well. Why would you all put all your training and your time and effort into someone else's hands, and then they could still
Yeah.
be responsible for all that and
Yeah.
reparable, but or you could have it on you, if you can on yourself and be responsible for your own
Yeah.
stuff just in case.
And I want to clarify that this company in question, I still do their races and like I enjoy their races. I just wanted to put that out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and again, it might have been that. Yeah, what if they didn't have enough volunteers or somebody canceled or whatnot? So they're just trying, essentially. But and that makes perfect sense, right? You would think an aid station, that's good, like you said. We'll have some smiling faces there. Hey, man, what are you doing? They might even come out before you get to the table or the section, right, man? Hey, what do you need? And fill it up just from my a little bit of experience I have with that. But yeah, if they're just like just asking and ready to be there. Um, I haven't volunteered at one yet. I volunteered at a race before, just like helping with traffic and like parking. But I don't know how many times have you volunteered? I know you did the Coyote one. No, it was before that. Before
Yeah,
you
it
ran
was
the
a
Coyote
race before
yeah,
that.
Yeah, yeah.
The Mammoth Racing Company, they put on a race out at Cleburne, and I volunteered out there. I volunteered at a few. I volunteered at Lake Murray last year. I'm starting to try to get more involved in that scene too.
Cool, because
it is
that's a good way to like meet people too, and like you probably feel pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
man, it's like it's your scene. Like
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
your like community of people. Why would you not? Why would you
Yeah.
not serve others in something that you love?
yeah, especially once you're involved in it, and you are knowing a handful of people and running all around here in like the metroplex and stuff. Like, if I was running a race and I didn't know you were going to be there, and I came to an aid station, I was like, oh, hey, like,
Yeah.
it's Will, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, that'd be such like a boost. Like, dude, I know you're out here. Yeah, here you go, bud. Like, that'd be super cool. Right, and then you're just kind of knowing, getting more involved, and like you said, kind of immerging yourself more in your community, in that environment and everything. Kind of paying your dues almost. It's
Paying your dues,
yeah.
man. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Give back a little bit
Yeah.
to something that you love.
It makes perfect sense, and kind of see that side of things too. And then half the time, and not that this is really why you should do it, from what we were just talking about is why, but most of the times too, they'll like, hey, you can either run at the end of the day or run like they'll give you a race sometimes.
Yeah, you get a race credit.
Yeah, usually there's a race credit for it. And even like a volunteer shirt, I've seen like a specific special volunteer shirt for like,
Mhm.
you won't get it unless you're a volunteer, and that's really
Yeah.
neat. So yeah, definitely support this stuff and look into your local kind of races and companies and what they do, and help them with that. That's a really good idea. All right, so another question I thought about leading to this, amongst the lines of what you think is a good race, but say you're given like a huge chunk of property or a huge park or a state park came to you and was like, hey, we need to build a race. So essentially the question is, if you could make a race or build a race, what would be your like ideal race that you could look for as far as like terrain and like up and down, vertical stuff, where like if you could build your own race, or I guess if you're a race director, like what do you look forward to, or what's your favorite stuff, or you think like more races need more of around here, I guess.
So like if I was a race director, like
Essentially, yeah.
what kind of
Or a millionaire can have like a a trail in your backyard.
That's interesting. Thinking locally around here?
Right, because of course, if
Um,
people wanted more mountains or verticals, like you could obviously go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
So like um
anything, yeah.
it would be really nice to find races with longer loops or just like longer segments. Cuz
Okay.
but you're fighting that here in Texas because there's so much private land. It's a lot easier in places with more
There's
public
so
land.
much, yeah, just
Yeah.
open spaces.
And but then at the same time, like on the flip side of that, it'd be really nice to have more options for like timed ultras, like 6
Hmm.
hour, 12 hour, 24 hours, because they're out there, and I think there's more and more of them. There's a race, Achilles Hill.
Oh,
It's
that
like
sounds
a
cool.
what?
I said that sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, it's named after a dog,
That's even cooler.
Achilles. Yeah. He's got a hill, but um, they've recently announced that they are gonna do like a 12, 24, and 36 hour
Neat.
option or something like that. I don't know if the 12 is real, but I know the 24 and 36 are, and that's kind of interesting.
And those are just like literally until the finish all the loops you can in that amount of time, right? Like if you're doing the 24 hours,
Yeah,
you have that amount of time to do as many as you can, as
right.
much as you can. Okay.
So like if you're doing a 6 hour race, you can run for 5 hours and 55 minutes, and if you get back to the start finish, and if you leave the start finish before six
But
hours, you
right.
can do that, and you can add on to it.
Okay.
So yeah. Um,
Nice.
And then, like, just personally, like, if you're asking me what would
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really fun event, have you been out to Cleveland State Park ever?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
to run. I like fished there twice.
Yeah,
But
okay. We're gonna do that someday.
yes.
But there's a loop out there. It's called Inner Green, the Inner Green Loop, and
Hmm.
it's about 1.5 miles long,
Oh, okay.
and it's super hard.
But okay, that's what I
Yeah,
figured.
and so like it'd be really hard to do, but like every time I run it, I'm just like, man, it'd be so much fun to do like a 24-hour race out here.
Oh my! Just on that loop?
Yeah, just on that loop,
Oh my
just like
gosh!
loop that for like 24 hours. Like maybe every like 4 hours, like have you like turn around and go the opposite way or
Oh
something like
man!
that.
Like
But
a
like,
crazy one of the yeah.
yeah, that'd be fun. Like, and I feel myself like getting drawn more towards something like that, like a track ultra or something, just because I sit there in my head and I'm like, man, that would be really not enjoyable. It'd be really really hard because I'm drawn to that though because I'm like, what lessons could I learn from that? Like, what could I
Yes,
experience by going through
I
that?
I totally understand that.
So
That's kind of what's feeding me more in the fire of like I was saying, I like people pushing their limits and stuff and seeing
yeah,
things, and then you hear about like I had heard of backyard races or like knockout races,
yeah,
and then I like actually looked into it and learned like what they were. So it's like a 4-ish mile breakdown. You start every hour,
yeah,
right?
backyard. You're talking
Yeah.
about a backyard
Yes.
ultra, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Backyard ultra. So it's like every hour you start, but it's like 4-ish, whatever it adds up to, essentially where it's 100 miles a day. 100 miles in 24 hours
mm-hmm.
for some is what they try to set it to or whatever. But it's a loop, and you just start, and it essentially doesn't have an ending point
Yeah.
until there's everyone's done.
And they've got a few of those. Achilles
Have you
Hill.
done one of those?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I never have.
I feel
Yeah.
like you need to do that now.
Achilles Hill has done a they have a last person standing, and there's a backyard ultra down around the hill country, and then there's another one down around Houston. I forget the name of them.
That sounds like I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I wouldn't want to yet, but I definitely see the appeal. It's almost nice because it is the same thing over and over, and you're you just got to get up and do it. Like
Yeah,
just go, just push yourself and get in like those dark places and
you
just
could.
like keep going.
It depends on your goal for it,
That's true too.
because I mean, if you're trying to compete for it,
That's a whole nother right. If I was
Right.
going to make someone was going to try to do their new like distance PR,
Yeah.
and that's a cool way to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it is. I think the only thing that stopped me from doing it is I feel like with that you have to have like a competitive fire. I feel like if I was wanting to do that, I would be like wanting to try to win it.
yeah,
That's the only thing
yeah.
that
That
stopped me from it. And I have yet to come across a last person standing thing and be like, I want to win that. And
they
I'm going to do what it takes to actually win that.
they get gnarly. Some of the stuff I hear from people,
Yeah.
dude, it's like here they coming in on hour 70. You're like, say what?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
like the Biggs Backyard Ultra in Tennessee. I'm sure you've heard of that one, right? That's like
I think so.
that's the best in the world last person
Okay,
standing
that's
race.
probably the
So
one
they're
that
like,
I've
yeah,
watched
they're
that. Then yeah,
because they sit there and they talk like, can somebody make it to 300? Is this
that's
a year for 300?
crazy, crazy man.
Yeah,
300
yeah,
miles.
yeah. I can't. Some of the stuff I can't even wrap my head around. Like I can't wrap my head around a 200.
Right. And
Yeah,
then they have some that are longer than that.
I think
Yeah.
on I think on 200s. That's my next.
Well,
That's
right.
my
If you've done a 125-ish, then yeah.
That's my big scary thing though. Because I remember even thinking, I have a friend who did the Moab 240, and it
Yeah.
started on the same day as Heartland.
Oh, when you did your Heartland?
Yeah, the same day we were doing like he was in Moab and
Oh, yes,
I
yes.
was in Kansas, and I remember thinking the second night like I'm fading in and out of sleep. I had just gotten done sleeping on the side of the trail.
Sweet.
Yeah, and just gotten back up, and I remember just being just so miserable, and I was just like, Andrew's doing this twice. What is wrong with him? Like I just remember thinking that in my head.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Yeah,
he's like,
right.
I got to do this twice, But
It's either a an uplifting thing or like a total like a breakdown again. You're like I I'm not even like I have nothing to complain about.
well, at the time, I think at the time in my head, I was just like, I can't even fathom doing this twice.
Yeah.
Like I was not having a good time. I was not having a good time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then and right, it sounds ridiculous, but there'll be a point where I'm like, I think I want to do that. I'm like, I want to try it. And it
It's
essentially yeah, once I don't want to say feel comfortable because that's part of what I like is like doing it to be, get comfortable being uncomfortable because it
yeah,
helps push yourself.
yeah.
Um, but I don't want to, I don't know, not enjoy it the whole time. It should be
Well,
hard. It's a fine line. Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful experience because you figure out really like what you're made of. Like you want to strip yourself down to like your rawest like person, like your rawest self. Go run 100 miles, and you'll find out what that is.
Gosh.
It's cool, man. It's an incredible
Uh,
spiritual
yeah.
experience. Like honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would definitely believe
The few that I've done, it's really really great.
it. Where do
Yeah.
you think what mileage, and I know it could kind of depend on how you're feeling and how your training's been and stuff, but like what mileage do you think it starts to kick in where you're like, yeah, crap, I'm doing 100, or like this is like 40 miles in or something, or like
Like when
after
does
you
it,
get after 50, you're
what do you
like,
mean
dang.
by like starts getting hard?
Well,
Like hitting a wall?
you
Like
kind of, I guess, like we're more or less like mentally, and where after starting off, and excitement will go off quickly, and you're like, this is hard, but almost where like it's the third time you've kind of thought like crap, like this is a long, I forgot how long
or
100
like oh
miles
this
is.
is
Like,
real.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
It,
man,
it
like
just, and it can vary so much, I'm sure, depending on the day. But
I don't know if you want to anything after 50
okay,
for me it's kind of like and even like late 40s you're just like all right.
dang it, like we're still, yeah, crap, I'm
It's not
still,
well it's not
yeah,
even it's not bad.
not in
Like
a bad, but like your
yeah, I'm
body,
just
you're
like
like, yep, this
yeah, I'm like
is,
we're in it.
yeah, yeah,
Which at that mileage you should be like here we are, like
right. You
this
know
is
what's you should be
yeah.
expecting that.
You're
Yeah,
you're
I guess that's what I'm trying to get where it
yeah.
kind of settles in. You're like, now, yeah,
Yeah.
now I'm in it. Yeah,
One thing you need to really remind yourself if it's like your first at that distance, or your first, even like your first
Any ultra
100K,
thing?
you
Yeah.
need to really concentrate on like pedaling it back, like slowing down. Somebody told me, they were like, if you think you're what they say, if you think you're going too slow, slow down some more. That's what they say.
Dang,
So,
that's hard.
it is. It's really hard.
That's something
Yeah,
I've learned. Yeah.
and especially your for me, my first 100, like, I was so excited because I was like, man, I'm gonna do this. I've been training and I
Yeah,
felt
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I will be totally honest with you. 2020 was, I think, fitness wise, was probably the best shape I've ever been in my
Oh yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah,
Rocking
like
and rolling.
ever. Yeah, I felt like a machine, and like physically, I was just on fire.
Nice. Pretty tuned up. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And but so like I showed up at that race, and like I remember telling myself multiple times, like the first like 50, 60 miles, like, tone it down, tone it down, tone it down. You're going too quick, you know? Or I'd take a downhill too fast, and I was just like, what's that about?
Right.
What's that about?
We're just trying to completion,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Get
you're not
it.
there
This
yet.
is
Like,
for yeah.
you just hit 50K. You don't need to be running 10-minute miles. You really need to like chill out.
Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you? Why, man? Yeah. Yeah. There's in all different, all kinds of kinds, right? To that come along in the races and like why they want to, what's their why to do it, and what they're trying to get out of it, and if it's their first or their 10th or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool yeah, a cool atmosphere needs to be in and be like going through. Yeah, so we can get into, speaking of that, like the why of certain people again, and of what people may have turned to it to get out of a bad situation or depression, or they're just like love running, or just again kind of just increasing their mileage or whatever. But yeah, what got you first into running too, and like why, or what you like about it and enjoy and keep you going for it?
When I always grew up playing sports, so I think physical activity has always been like a very like um good space for me. Like, I've always felt good moving.
Yeah.
I've always felt good like being around that. Um it started off, really, for me, a lot of it was just, I mean, health reasons, You know.
Okay.
Um I had a alcohol issue for a while. And just like a chemical issue, like drugs and
Mm.
alcohol. I consider myself an addict. I think I always will be. Well, I know I will. Um, and I think running, I ran a little bit while I was still using, just to,
Because you like the physical activity still, with like.
yeah, and there's just something just like, oh, well, I just got to keep off beer weight, like whatever. I mean,
Oh,
I've
okay,
always
okay,
been kind of, active, it's always
gotcha.
been nice, but especially when I first got sober, I probably used it as a crutch initially, because I was like, I have nothing to do now. I have to like absorb myself in
Be
this.
busy, yeah.
Yeah, I have to, or otherwise I'm gonna drink. That was my thing. So I was like, I'll just run really far, so I won't want to drink.
Idle hands are bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
idle
yeah,
hands are
yeah,
devil's
right.
playground.
And
Yeah.
it was a good tool at that time. Um, and then slowly, the more and more I got involved with it, the more I really realized that like I was doing it because I loved it. Like, I'd fallen in love with the
Yeah.
whole the whole ritual, the whole idea of it, and it really became really empowering. And it's a really cool way to discover yourself. Like, it's a really nice tool
Yeah, the
to
running solo by yourself, even for like 3 miles or like 8 miles or something, that's what I've really like enjoyed, just
yeah,
by
it's
yourself
it's
and just, yeah.
it's moving meditation.
Yes,
It's
very
really
good. Very
nice.
good. Yeah.
So I guess initially it just started off for your basic health reasons, and then kind of just has turned into something that I feel like is a part of me.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like
The guy's got a counter full of belt buckles and an outhouse up there. He's doing something right, yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
himself.
I
But
just it's fun, man. I just really like it.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can agree from the time that I've known you. Yeah, you're pretty
Yeah.
laid back and honest and like straightforward and just cool. Like cool dude. But you can like I can tell you get excited when like stuff about running and things, and you're able to talk on here with me about this stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, he knows stuff.
It
He
just
he can talk. Yeah.
it just makes me feel really good, and so I get excited talking to other people about it and wanting to teach them things about it because I know how good it makes me feel,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
hope that I can help other people feel the same
That's
way.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's how how it's supposed to work, right?
Yeah.
Like helping others in the whole community thing and like
Serving others, yeah.
yeah, learning
Absolutely.
a lot from that. Very good. Yeah, I don't I guess for me it's kind of the same way. Like I've liked being busy. I've kind of been more of a runner anyway and just kind of always did it and tried to keep it up and stuff, but I didn't wasn't getting into like endurance like that side of stuff until this year. And it started with me wanting to get back into it, and then I was like, and I've kind of said this before on things, but yeah, I was like turning 30, and I found a marathon. Like I'd never ran a marathon before because all I'd done before was like obstacle course races, which is fun, but it's different. It's not like a marathon or it's different.
Do you think
Um,
it's more difficult? I have never done an obstacle course race.
it's almost like it's it could be harder because it's running with stuff,
Mhm.
but then your main focus isn't just that. Like the people who do the best when I was really into it and everything, um, were always people that were like ultra runners. So they had that crazy internal engine and stamina and stuff, and they just had to be strong enough to like climb over a wall, do monkey bars or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
So I always saw that, and like anytime I hear of somebody like coming into it, like John Albin, John Albin is like a European like super ultra dude. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he did a couple like so Spartan's a real popular obstacle course company or whatever.
Yeah.
But they had ultras. They made ultras, so they have like a 40 mile up a ski slope with obstacles and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of the Spartan Ultra.
Yeah,
They got one down in
they'll
Austin.
do they'll do in
Yeah.
Austin. They usually have one around actually is it around Dinosaur Valley or might be around Beaumont Ranch, but somewhere down the road from us they'll have either one of their distances they'll do stuff. But
I
yeah,
know they
it,
used to do one in Glen Rose at a ranch, Rough
that's
Creek.
that's probably what I'm thinking of. There's one, but
They might still do it out there. I don't know. But
yeah, they have that essentially, and the ones that I liked because of that reason was like the shorter distance ones, like the sprints or like the blitz of things, and it
mhm.
like might be 7 miles. Because to me, that's more. That's kind of what you're what attracted me about those was that it's running, but you have to be able to do all these other things too. So it's almost
Yeah.
like a boot camp kind of thing. Carry this sandbag, climb
Yeah.
under this, do this. Whereas like I'm not gonna do it for 30 miles. Like there's so much running in that. Like I want to run. I like sprinting. I'm more of like like a high intensity kind of like stuff.
Yeah.
But then getting into this, um, part of it is like simpler and that whole like the movie meditation thing I like. And I've always just kind of been more of a runner and like yeah, getting out there by yourself in like the woods and stuff and running and like I usually like pray a lot and just be happy. Like my happy place, my
Yeah.
man time, my solitude
Cool, man.
and get out
Yeah.
there and do all that. And then I'm starting to like kind of like the race I signed up for that Sufferfest one. Like so that's gonna be my next like farthest distance. I think it's a 54K, not a 50K, but it's like
Yeah.
33 miles or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, and like a night race, and so that's like sounds bananas to some people, and I'm like, that's why I wanted to do it though. Like we're
Mhm.
talking about the crazy distance, like it sounds kind of hard, but I think I can do that enough to feel comfortable enough to do it and push myself. Um, so yeah, it's growing, it's going there and stuff. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And then yeah, in the first year, which I've said I think on a previous episode and other things like you're the first person I ever ran with outside of running by myself, and then our buddy Jeff who lives down the road. I'm like so running with people is a whole other thing to me. I'm like, hey, that's pretty nice. It's cool. You just like hang out and talk now with other people like as you run and put miles in. And it's been a way for me to like learn from y'all and other people and then like see also new places to run. again, that whole community thing. That's crazy how that works. It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
But
um it's nice to really like latch on to somebody who has like more knowledge than you and just like absorb what they have.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
20 2019 and 2020, um I met I ran a they do an ultra out at Rough Creek
Okay.
called Rough Creek Trail Runs. Creative name. But I signed up for the 40 miler and ended up DNFing.
Oh.
I DNF'd in third. It got hot and I wasn't prepared. Um but long story short, I looked up the winner just out of curiosity and he lived in Burleson.
Ha.
And I was like, "Oh man, I got to find this dude." I found him on
That's cool. Yeah,
Facebook
yeah,
and started
yeah.
talking to him and
I'm sure he was pretty cool. Was he nice? Like, heck yeah, man.
yeah,
Let's meet up.
no, because he's like a good friend.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Super nice guy. He like started talking. I was like, "Man, I got to run with you sometime." And he was like, "Heck yeah, dude, come on."
Yeah.
And so I started running with him, and that dude's a stud, man. I mean, that he's exactly what I needed in my life for running at that point in my life.
Nice.
Cuz like I was at a point where I was like I was doing everything by myself.
You
I didn't really know what to do.
kind of plateauing or just like, yeah, I
Right.
didn't
I
know
was
what to do
just
next.
like, I
Yeah.
don't even know if I really want to keep doing this forever. This is just going to be like a phase, maybe. But I
Yeah.
met that dude and he gave me knowledge and he gave me confidence
Nice.
and started running with him and training with him. And it really helped me grow a lot. You just got to latch on to some old head, man, and just
Be a
what do you
sponge.
know?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
know? Yeah. And just feed it. And that's good. Like, it's good in life too.
Yeah.
You find somebody and you learn. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
you have to be right. Kind of back to mental toughness. You have to be, which is hard, especially for dudes for the most part, right? To ask for help
Yeah.
or reach out to other people and stuff. It's kind of in that same that same space of like, well, I want to run with people, but I don't want to ask. Like,
Yeah.
so, it's kind of a weird thing, but
It's perceived as weakness, and that's so not
yeah,
true.
it's not.
Yeah, it's not true.
You're trying to essentially better yourself still. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh man, what was I gonna go with this? With getting people to run with you and learning. Dude, dang it.
Did I cut you off?
No. Was it about him? Oh my gosh. No, it was good. It was gonna be good. It was a decent question.
Dwell on it.
Dang it.
I ran with him.
Yeah.
I met him at a race. I messaged him on Facebook.
It might have been just kind of going off that everyone in my experience too has been like super cool in like that kind of environment. I think because of it too, like from what I can compare it to, like other sports, depending on them, that's part of it. Especially like team things, is like a little animosity against other people or like an attitude, or like you have to kind of puff your chest out to show. Like at some of the obstacle courses, there were some guys like that were just like kind of muscle their way up to the front of the start line and kind of try to show off and be like ready. But it was more intense. It was slightly in that direction where like it was a weird different space. Where here it's just like everyone is like so happy for you just to like be out there and like completing stuff.
Like what I've experienced, the trail running community and the ultra running community in general is it's a lot less competitive. It's competitive, but it's more about
This is
it's
like the
definitely
respect.
just it's definitely just a lot of people. It's positive people doing positive things.
Yeah,
And it's like super, it's not threatening, it's not intimidating. Like, people are going to help other people. A perfect example of that would be somebody like Courtney DeWalter,
mm-hmm.
world class athlete, one of probably the best ultra runner in the world.
She's pretty ridiculous.
And you'll see her just chatting with just
Yes.
like normal people.
Yeah.
And just talking up, because she is a normal person, right?
Yeah,
But, I mean, you
she's
know
like a
what I mean?
science teacher.
Yeah, yeah. But like
She was, I guess.
but you know, I mean, and she doesn't. It's just like there's that level of like, yeah, they don't act like rock stars, you know, and
yeah,
like,
everyone.
and everybody's like that, because we're all. I feel like the further you go, the more concerned you are with competing like within yourself than you are competing against other people.
Yeah. But and then you carry like an appreciation with that when you see other people like that was hard for me and and that's something actually, speaking of Courtney, that I had seen. She finished some race and she actually got second in it. It might have been like Western States, but
Mm-hmm.
and when the guy passed her, she was like, good job, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard for all of them, but she's got second. It was awesome, but she stayed until like the last people. It was like, an hour left of time, and she's like, here's the real warriors. Like,
Oh
they
yeah.
did that. They're still going, and they did it, and
For
like,
sure.
and she was happy clapping them on and stuff. And I was like, they understand, like, dude, you're tough. Like, everyone is pushing and trying to get it done. And
They're out there
yeah,
longer.
yeah,
I mean, like
yeah,
they're out there longer.
yeah. That's a whole nother, like, you could do it fast, which I guess in a way, it can be more efficient or easier for you if you do it at your speed and if you finish before someone else. But there's still another level of, like, so it was probably harder for them, but they still did it and they're out there
Mm-hmm.
longer. Like,
Yeah.
dang, yeah, yeah. That's an awesome thing. And that, yeah, back to that. That's what everyone I've seen, essentially is just like trying to just be cool with everybody and keep going. And yeah, man, you do your thing, we'll do ours and run and get better. I'll help you out. Help me. Yeah, it's been so far so good, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pleased with your journey so far?
So far, I'll
That's
leave a
good.
Yelp review soon on the yellow pages. Yeah, yeah, where they have just a general trail runner
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I still need to get like more attached to some groups and stuff on the socials of things. But
Running Familia, Dallas Dirt Runners, the Denton Area Running Club. That's another local group. There's a group in Mansfield called Run United.
oh yeah, I've been to that shoot. That's where I got these ultras at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So you've been there.
Well, I didn't know they had like it's just
Yeah.
like a
They
sporting
have
place.
they have club runs.
Ah,
Fort Worth Running Company.
heard of them.
They have little group runs. Trailhead Running Supply is a running store in Flower Mound that exclusively deals in trail stuff.
Nice.
Well, I shouldn't say that. They're not exclusively trail.
But they have
So-
a focus on, obviously their name's
yeah,
Trailhead. Okay.
they're close to North Shore and they kind of cater. They have road stuff. The owner of that place, if they ever heard this, would be screaming.
I'm like, hey, we sell other
Yeah,
stuff.
no, it's not just I'm trying to think. Burleson Running Club.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right,
they
duh.
do some social stuff.
I'm sure I've kind of searched through on like Strava or like Facebook and stuff and like
Yeah.
look for groups, and you can like, there's a handful. There's like an Irving club and like
Yeah,
whatever.
Irving,
Like,
yeah.
that's pretty neat.
Mhm.
And you can just kind of just reach out. Yeah, if someone's listening to this and thinking about it, yeah, I would recommend it. Get on that boat and
Good
ask people.
good stuff locally. Mammoth Trail Races.
Mhm.
That's local. That kind of like they have stuff in Granbury, Glen Rose, and Cleburne. So that's a little bit further south because we're a little bit further south of Fort Worth.
Yes.
So
yeah,
some of
yeah.
the stuff like Denton Area Running Club, I'm not gonna go to their social runs in the
Not
middle
all.
of the week,
Yeah, yeah.
like up in Denton, but just I don't know.
The and that's something that we could kind of dip into for a second too. With the Texas Outlaw Running, who actually have a podcast as well. I've liked theirs, but I remember I was looking into their races,
Yeah.
and then I had found you had some points on it. You were like ranked 5th for the year or something, and I like sent you that screenshot.
Yeah.
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Hey man, look at you on the billboard." And like I ran like a race with them.
Yeah. That's a good company. That's a good like they put on good races. I'm doing a night race for them this year in
Nice.
July. It's what's it called? Noche Trail Runs?
Noche?
Noche. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that'll be fun.
Oh, in July. That's like
Yeah, July.
soon.
Yeah, it's a night race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's coming up.
Hey, that's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty exciting. But that company blows my mind because that's a 20-year-old kid who runs that.
Yeah, I found that out too.
That's a 20-year-old.
He's pretty young. Him and his buddy.
That's
and
a child.
Yeah, it makes you like dang, like go you. Like, yeah,
We're old.
we're
old, Frank.
I'm 30.
Are you feeling that? We're old.
Are you? I think you're
31.
31. That's what I thought. Yeah,
31,
yeah. No, I am. Once I hit 30,
Have you heard people? Have you heard younger people talking about things yet, and you have no idea what they're talking about? Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And you're like, "What's that?" And they're like, "You don't know? That's the coolest thing."
yeah. Part of me like refuses to accept some of this because it like I don't care about that. I'm not gonna say that word. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've already used my learned my vocabulary from
Yeah,
my
I'm
high
not
school
calling
time.
things mid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
no. I have my stuff. Yeah, but there's definitely like a technology part that I've noticed with certain things. And someone will talk about stuff, and I work with a bunch of kind of younger guys,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh crap, what kind of cable? Like what? So
It's a
yes,
cool it's cool though. Like it's a cool perspective, especially to see or to just to see perspectives from like younger people that like you wish you would have had, and you can like see that they're doing that.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the way like their mindset and how they operate, and you're like, I wish I would have had that wisdom at like 17. I wish I would have had
Yeah.
that at 19.
Thankfully, my younger sister is pretty headstrong with like being smart, not an idiot, and trying to do good things.
Mhm.
Um, for the most part, I would say when I look at races, um, like the beef of the crowd is around 30s is usually what I see, like 30 to 40 and even older. But that's usually what I see. Like I'm surprised. It goes to show that with the training, unless they start real young, and of course there's those people that they've been running and in cross country since they're in high school and all that, and they've just kept with it, and they're like 27 and awesome. But for the most part, I usually notice people around like 30s is like the bulk of it.
I think ultra running is like it's a practice that like you have to develop a lot of mental toughness and mental maturity. It's like almost just as important as like your physical strength. Um so I think the older you get, like the more you like the more your mind can endure. So then like it's a nice like you can cover a lot more distance a lot faster. I think it kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah,
Yeah, cuz
yeah,
you can be mentally tougher than somebody, and you can end up having better races than them if they're tougher than you, but
right.
then they don't have the desire or the
Yes,
willpower to keep going.
yeah, yeah.
And I think
They
that's just you can have it at a young age, or you can have so much physical strength and so much physical skill that it doesn't matter.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like it's something you learn just through experiencing life
yeah.
that helps you in that.
The mental
Yeah.
stuff that comes with it is definitely a attractive part to me
Yeah.
that I like, and like a healthy part again to kind of confirm with yourself that you did it. I always like to think of like when you got like a little kick at the end and you like run through the finish line, like oh my gosh, and you're still walking, you're still on your feet, and you're
Yeah.
like oh I am still going, like cool. You
Like you
can
didn't
always
it's very nice to do things that you think weren't possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah.
That's a good yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of put a fork in it there, right?
Yeah.
Trail running's tough, but it makes you tougher. So do it. Put a smile on. Do you do that? Or, dang it! I said we're gonna end it real quick. Do you run with this like smile? Have you heard of that like thing?
Yeah.
Mentally, try to
Yeah.
smile, and it
I
makes
can do
things
that.
easier.
Yeah, I don't think I have as much, but like I'm definitely like in a positive headspace.
Yeah,
So,
I try to like. I'm usually the same way, like in a good and happy about it and doing it. Um, but like will physically make myself like kind of put a grin on and smile because it's that whole like your body's like to physically connecting like to your brain. Your brain's like we're smiling. Yeah, we're smiling. So this is a good thing. So
you
here we go. It's
you
good. Be
automatically
happy.
release
Yes.
endorphins even if you don't mean it.
Right.
Like
Right.
you
Right.
can be in the worst pain imaginable, but if you have a grin on your face, it
Your
helps.
brain's like it. Right. It minuscule maybe, but it does help. But
Yeah.
cool. All right. Well, Mr. Bryant, Will the welder, Will the trail goat who's yet to trip on the couple runs we've done. I was very impressed. Man, thank
I'll
you so
fall.
much
Don't worry.
for yeah.
You'll
When
see
you
it.
do,
You'll see it.
it'll happen. We did
Yeah.
find your snake. All your talk about looking for snakes, and I finally found one. You saw it, so yes, the snakes do exist.
Locally, if you go to Chisenhall, you'll find a snake this time of year.
If you're running with Will, apparently.
You should do that. If you like snakes, go out there.
Oh, if you like, yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me on.
No,
I appreciate this, man. You're a good dude.
I appreciate it, bud. Thank
Yeah.
you for all your knowledge drops here and just spending the time to talk about it. And yeah, if we all run that night race, that'd be a cool point to talk about again. We'll have to do like
Yeah, that'd be great.
a little
Yeah.
talk over that.
Absolutely.
And talk about it. It's cool. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right.